Bede Durbidge, welcome to the podcast, brother.
Oh, thanks, Keegs.
Mate, how you feeling?
Yeah, good. A little bit injured at the moment, but after Cyclone Alfred, but other than that, pretty good.
How'd you go? Because you were telling me you've got a bit of a rib issue after the cyclone. What happened? Like, how'd you even do your rib in the cyclone?
Yeah, I know. It was like, I don't know. Some people probably say it's stupid going out there surfing, but no, that's kind of my jam, I guess, surfing, and I don't know. Every surfer that's right into it, like. Just froths when the cyclone's coming. So
hell waves, yeah.
Yeah, it was really good.
Did you get waves?
Yeah, got some fun ones. Surfed Kira at the start of the swell. That was good, but then I went back home where I grew up to North Stradi, and that's where I got injured. But I was kind of just devastated. Hey, like it was starting to really turn on, like heavy thick barrels, and then just got smoked, and I was just like, oh. And I've had so many injuries over the years. I was just like, oh, this doesn't feel good, because normally I'd just shake it off and try and get back out there, but I was like, oh.
Did you land on your board? Did you land on the...
No, I was just coming out of the barrel, like going super fast. I was riding a quad fin and to reset to another barrel, but just hit a bump and then just landed like with my arm up, but just like on the face of the wave, and it just felt like concrete. And I was just like obviously winded, but then I was like, oh, this is worse than winded. And then I was like, got another 4 waves on the head. We were doing step offs, but my mate's like, get on. I'm like, nah, I'm not getting on. It's gonna hurt worse.
Yeah.
So I just waited till the set passed and then just crawled up the back and was like, oh, we gotta go in.
I heard Double Island DI was like so good throughout that week as well.
Yeah.
I think our mate Sammy went up there.
Nice.
He said it was sick.
I saw some footage of it. Looked really good. So I think everyone would have probably scored around the place, but just the crowds these days are getting pretty bad.
Well, mate, even like I saw a photo of, I think it was Snapper. It was like 40 jet skis out, or like 30 jet skis out. Yeah. Something gnarly like that. Oh,
it was. That's the Monday when I surfed it. Yeah, there was like 40 at least, and I got dropped in on twice by people on jet skis.
Really? Were you paddling?
I was just paddling.
What?
Yeah. I know, like, and you didn't need a jet ski that day anyway. There was no current, and it's only 6 foot. I don't know. I was pretty disappointed in surfing. Like, each surfers on the Gold Coast that day, I was just like, came in just filthy. I was just like, this is out of control.
This is ridiculous, hey?
But I don't know. It's just the Gold Coast now for surfing. It's pretty full on.
I've seen a lot of guys like will duck over to like Fingal and just do step offs, because you can find like banks all the way up there, right?
Yeah. That's what I tend to do is just if I got time, just go with a mate and do step offs there, or I don't know. I just always surf Currumbin. I love just surfing out the front. Like even if it's worse, it's just more fun. That's why I surf these days anyway, just for fun and for just getting out there and the well-being side of it. That's what I love about it.
Mate, I'm keen to unpack a lot of that today. Like even like your transition, like obviously touch on your career, transition out, and the whole roller coaster that comes with that as well. But even like you mentioned, like Stradi, you grew up at Stradi. Yeah. What was it like growing up there? Because it's probably like a little bit different to everyone, like growing up here on the Goldie, right? How was that for you?
It was insane. Like, it's obviously got its good parts and its bad parts. Obviously, small town, so everyone knows everyone's business. And when you're a kid and having fun or whatever, like if you're up to no good, mum or dad would find out before you got home. So that was probably the worst part, but so good for like independence from such a young age. I remember being able to go to the beach from when I was like 8 on my own, and like just go surfing after school, before school, and then I played footy, like rugby league. I got into that pretty young, like from when I was like
You're a footy
6.
player?
Yeah, I did for a little bit.
Really? What position?
Because I was young, like just wherever. But then I sort of fell into like centres or second row. Like,
mate, imagine you in another life playing for the Bronx. Imagine that.
That was my dream, was like to play footy. When I was younger, for sure, I was obsessed with it. Like sleep in my jersey and stuff, and just lived and breathed it. And played for Stradi Sharks until I was 13. But then I surfed and played footy. But once I got into like teens, like everyone started getting a lot bigger.
Yeah.
And I remember just like being so sore going surfing, like, and just so many tags and grazes and just stinging like the salt water on, like,
Yeah.
and I was just like, oh, and then, I don't know, just started getting belted a bit more, and I was like, nah, I'm going to slot into surfing more, and just went down there. But I just always felt like sport was just my jam, you know. I just I love the physical side of league. Like, I really missed that when I stopped, but then I just didn't miss the I don't know, the aches and pains of when I went surfing. So,
mate, that was the biggest thing when I left footy. I was just like, oh my God, I don't feel sore anymore. Like, you're not sore for the whole week leading up to it. Like, even here at the Titans, like, there was a heap of boys that surf. Like, we did a couple of trips to the Ments. There's probably like 5 of us that surf. Like, not well, but because we're all big. We just loved it. And it was nice in off season because your body starts getting like, oh, I don't have any like tags, don't have any like AC issues, and you can actually like surf without being sore, which was awesome.
Yeah, that's so cool. I reckon it's such a good correlation between surfing and footy and just sport in general. Like, I don't know, everyone's it's such just an outlet to I don't know, get away and show, like, get out all your passions. And surfing and footy go hand in hand. So many good mates I find. Like, I've got mates in footy that surf, and it's epic.
How do you go, because obviously like footy started as like a passion and doing it for fun, but then you went professional and it became a job? Because a lot of the guys that I talk to, when same as footy, same as everyone in sport, and then usually when it becomes a job, like, some people might fall out of love with it because it's like, it's what you're doing every day. How did you go navigating that space when you were surfing professionally, but then also like that's like your outlet?
Yeah, I know.
You know? How did you do
totally.
The two?
It was definitely, it never became an issue probably till I was like late 20s, I reckon. Like, it was always like, oh, that's still fun. Like, I want to go surfing. But then after like, I don't know, maybe 8 years on tour, I was just like, I don't really want to go for a surf.
Wild.
Like, but I know I have to keep up my level and keep working on, I don't know, like surfboards or fitness or whatever, or a location, like to get ready for a location on tour. And it sort of became a little bit draining. And also my results weren't they were like getting worse almost, like declining. So I don't know, just that build up of, I've got to treat it more like a job instead of a passion and a hobby. And that kind of took over the weight of the fun and the excitement. And I remember a couple of years there was a bit of a battle, I felt like a grind more so than like, oh, I could like get up in the dark just pumped as like, can't wait to go and do this. Like, that novelty kind of wore off, which was it was a bit like, it was new for me. And but then I just had to reshape it and find fun sides of it, and then it kind of went away after.
How'd you find the fun sides?
Just like riding different equipment or training with different people and like younger people to get their excitement off instead of like just,
not with the old boys anymore.
Not with the old boys, and not doing it so much on my own as much, like the training side. So, but yeah, it can become a bit of a drain, and then surfing's like quite like skill, like art sort of, like creative side of things, because you can do whatever you want on the wave, and it's a bit of a canvas. So it takes that away from it too. Your creative side, I felt went. So it was and then I nearly fell off tour. So it was like a bit scary for a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Did you always think you wanted to do it as a job growing up? Like, did you ever think it could have been a job?
Not so much thought it could be a job, but it was sort of just a big dream that, like, especially growing up at Stradi, like, only one other person made on tour, and that was Ethan Ewing's mum, Helen. So seeing her do it was like, made it like real and like something achievable. So, but knew it was like a crazy task, like growing up at Stradi, 3,000 people, going against the whole world. Like, there was only like at that time 16 spots to qualify. So I was like, oh, I'm up against it here, but I kind of just didn't back down to that challenge, and then like moved down here to chase that dream when I was 19, just to get off the island to be amongst like with Joel and Mick and Dingo and stuff like that, to push myself and just be surrounded by the best, and it paid off, like that sacrifice.
Good crew.
Yeah.
Hell crew to roll into.
Yeah. It was pretty like surreal coming down here, and I don't know, like even there was so many people on tour that lived here at the time. So it just like, well, I don't know, they always say it, but it is true. Like you surround yourself with like good, high achieving people, you're going to morph into that as well, if you got the work ethic and the attitude.
But even crew with like similar values as well, right?
Yeah,
like obviously like high performing, sure, that's also great. But then like you knock around with good people, probably gonna be a good person. You know what I mean?
You're gonna get ousted of the group straight away if you come in being a dickhead or whatever. So yeah, it's you gotta I don't know, respect like that environment and those people, and then try and I guess you got to be competitive as well. So have your own agenda and your own drive, and but try and subtly fit in there and under the radar.
Do you think people struggle with that on tour, whereas just like a lot of them are mates, right?
Yeah.
Like as you knock around with them, probably have had like 1,000 beers with them over the years as well. But then you're competing against them. Like, do you reckon there's ever any like, not animosity, but do you reckon there's anything like that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, there's definitely you have your friendships, and then there's like those cliques, with people that you just, I don't know, get under your skin, or I don't know, you just really want to beat some people, like, and you look forward to those matchups and those heats.
Yeah, really.
I don't know. It's sort of like, I feel like sometimes it's not physical, but it's like mentally battles. Like it's sort of like that's the part I really got into in surfing. I love that mental like chess game with the other person. Like, because when you paddle out, it's like just you versus them and your mind versus their mind. But because you're making decisions in the heat, which play out how this, like who's going to win in the end. So it's like so much strategy in it, which I've loved.
Really? Do you think about, because I want to talk about your transition out of surfing a bit later on, but do you find like you're looking for that now as well?
Oh yeah, a little bit, definitely. And that's why I got into coaching as well, like because I loved that side of coaching, like the strategy side. And like I find like with coaching, like it's hard to be good at all aspects of like coaching, because it's like the skill, strategy, mind set. And I really like just the mind part of it, and the strategy and the tactics side. So, but I found like when I got into business side of things as well, just like with Bolter and just other things in business, like it's the same thing really. It's like you're competing for a spot in the market, or like it's the same like process and the same principles, but it's just in a different environment. And
couple things that I do want to touch on later on, before we do move on from like your actual career. It's funny, like when we have these conversations with crew, like a lot of the times we're not really talking a lot about like their professional career. You know what I mean? Which is like, it's funny because it's like a mental health and sport podcast. So like a lot of people are expecting like the sporting element to it. But it's just like, for me, I'm curious about like probably everything else.
Definitely.
Which is super interesting. It gives you like an insight into the person a little bit more. But it's funny, bro. It's actually like funny one for you, when I was growing up, when I was a little kid, obviously like grew up here on the Goldie, liked surfing, liked footy. I had one of our neighbours brought over this like huge like lifestyle poster, and I'll never forget it. It was fucking you, bro.
What?
Yeah, bro. It was like it was like 6 foot by 6 foot wide.
Wow.
Did you must have surfed for like Globe or something like that? Or like a shoe?
Etnies. I used to ride for Etnies.
It was like a big photo of you, and like, and that was on my wall for years, man. So it was really
That's
random.
funny.
So it's like a full circle moment now.
Wow.
Which is interesting. But yeah, like I was getting back to, it's just like, it's cool to like have the conversations with crew, just to get to know them a little bit more. But before moving on from your career, it's just like, feel like highlight, like was there a part throughout like the decade plus that stood out that you're like, oh, that was a really special moment?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think like, well, I rode for Billabong for, I can't remember, maybe 12 years or something, like 12 or 13 years. And from when I was like 12, and then when I was on tour, like my second year, they said to me like, oh, we're not going to renew your contract unless you can make a final or win a contest, because they had like everyone on the team, like Andy, Joel, Oki, Taj, like such a big team, and I was like younger and not doing as well, and I was like, yeah, that's fair enough. And then I ended up winning a contest, but they end up letting me go anyway because they thought I wasn't going to win. Yeah, but then I was like down in the dumps, and I was just like spewing, like obviously no sponsor, but I was still on tour. And then I went, nah, stuff this, like let's turn that adversity into an advantage, and trained really hard in the off season. Started the next year without a sponsor, and I was just like, I'm going on a rampage. I'm just going to try and just do as well as I can, make as much money from prize money, not worry about sponsors, and end up having my best year yet. But just like, and then like in the end of the year, I won the Triple Crown and the Pipe Masters, but it was just like, I don't know, I didn't need it, but I kind of needed it, something like that to happen for me to like get out of my comfort zone and really like get stripped back and try my hardest and put more effort in. I don't know, it was like such a pivotal moment, but that life lesson like just helped me kickstart my career really, and then start winning comps and doing well.
It was almost like everything happens for a reason, hey?
Yeah.
You know?
And like, so that was probably like my highlight, was obviously once I started doing well, but the highlight personally and inside was just like find your own drive. Don't wait for external things to stimulate that, you know. So, which that's how I got there. But now I can find it myself, you know, from more reflection and ask myself, am I doing enough, instead of being a bit lazy? Because I tended to be a bit lazy from growing up at Stradi and just get on island time and stuff around a lot, and be late to things like coming in.
Sorry, brother, just on island time, man. No, that's bad, but that's so interesting because, and I love that story because a lot of the older guys that I talk to that kind of I want to be in the next 10, 20, 40 years, right?
Yeah.
They all like have gone through so much gnarly shit. It's just like anyone who has any kind of substance have like been through really tough times because they pull some incredible traits out of it, right? And that's like the perfect example of that.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, you hope, things happen, but like you said, like, some things happen for a reason, and it's sort of like, but then you got to have the tools and the reflection to go, look at them and understand them, instead of just, that doesn't mean anything, and just keep going. And I guess that's why people succeed and some people don't. It's because they don't see signs and don't adapt and adjust to things that are happening and taking them down a bad path instead of changing it and going down a good path.
Sounds like you've done like a bit of reflection, hey, and even like grab those tools. Do you think you had that when you were on tour, or has that come later?
I had it a bit, but not to the depths now, and especially like, I don't know, just working alongside psychologists and and different athletes, and seeing different athletes' mindsets. Like, it's been so interesting. Like, you know, when you're in the thick of it, being an athlete yourself, it's just kind of you think your mind's the only way, or whatever, or your coaches you've had. But then I found like with coaching, like seeing such a broad range of athletes, it's just everyone's just so different, and there's sort of no right or wrong way, but it's sort of like whatever makes you tick and whatever gets that passion burning and makes you snap out of things. Or
It's interesting, like you talk about psychologists, like can't imagine there would be too many psychologists when you first started jumping on tour, right? How do you think?
Definitely not.
How do you think because similar to footy, right?
Yeah.
Like when I came in, it was just like no one's really talking about what was going on. Like it was very much just like toughen up, let's go, time to dial in. How was it when you first came on tour versus now? Like how has it changed over time?
It's such a dramatic change in a good way. Like when I first got on tour, it was, like basically it was just, you went surfing and I don't know, partied, like basically did a tiny bit of training, but it was more a lifestyle sport and like a big traveling party, like where you'd compete, and it was very full on the competing side, but no outside training, so to speak. It was more just like film, do photo shoots for mags, do filming for videos and that sort of thing, not the professional side of where like now it's like, everyone's training, maintenance for injury prevention, doing psychology sessions, making sure what you're eating, recovery, strength and conditioning. Like, so you got like, all your different domains of what makes a professional athlete, and you're topping them up, where before it was just surf and party if you want to party and go around the world and have fun, really. And then, Mick Fanning was a big part of that to kind of shift that dial a bit, and then he started winning and everyone started just shifting to that. But it was good because I was younger, so it was easy for me to fall into that side of it than being older and being stubborn and just like, I'll still win the heat. I can go out all night and still get up and surf, because you can't. That's the bad thing with surfing, is like you can go partying and still surf really well. So, but if you got it on finals day and you have to surf say 4 or 5 times, you're kind of going to run out of steam by the end. But so it's sort of like weeded out over time, and now it's super professional and working in the sport, and then like being a coach at the Olympics and stuff like that. I'm a big advocate for like obviously taking care of yourself and your mind and your body, and you want to get the best out of yourself. You don't want to go to a contest and just try and wing it, which was kind of what was happening a little bit. You're just relying totally on your skill, and now it's like you're going to put in a campaign. You tick all those boxes, so you go there ready and just go lay it all out.
It's cool that you've seen both sides of it. Like you've been, it's kind of, you've kind of got best of both worlds, where like you got to have the fun growing up, but then you also got the professional side of it as well. And I think that'll probably help with all the coaching that you're doing, especially the Olympics. Like that would have been such a cool experience, right? Like first time in the Olympics, being a coach. Like you got some incredible crew. Like we train, like Safi comes out to Alicat, so she was so there. Good, so I was like, that's so that's such a cool play. How was the experience?
Oh, it was so cool, and it's very different, obviously, compared to WSL or whatever. It's like there's so many regulations and rules and compliance stuff, but because it's been in surfing now for a little bit, you kind of get used to it. But the first one in 2020 in Japan, like I was the coach for, and that was a struggle with the athletes, just for them to get their head around the compliance, and you have to jump through all these hoops just to even be able to get ticked off to go, because like the NSO and like the AIS and then going under the governing body, there's just like, they're just not like rock up and go like they thought it would be. Like,
what do you mean? There's rules and regulations.
Yeah, and everyone's just like, what do you mean? I'm not doing that. And they're so used to like non-compliance and just freedom. Like surfers are just hard enough to deal with as it is. Like, and I didn't realise that until I started working with them. And I was probably the same. So, but it was a good experience and journey to go on, and now it's like just the athletes are just so different now compared to before. So, but then like they still have a lot of fun as well. Like obviously after events, everyone lets their hair down and works hard, and has that balance, like, which is everything in life, I feel.
Did you always want to coach? Like, did you think about life after surfing when you were in it?
Not, to be honest. Like when I got into coaching, I got a super bad injury in 2015. I was on tour
Is
and
that a pipe?
yeah, I had pipe and I had an open book pelvic fracture. So
Yeah, what happened?
I got just smashed into the reef on the. It was a pretty heavy day, like solid 8 foot, 8-10 foot, and just pole driven into the reef, and yeah, my pelvis just blew open and my abs got ripped off the bone as well, and so it's just like basically like pelvis like that, and it blew open at the front and cracked at the back.
What does that feel like?
Oh, worst pain ever. Like I was still on the bottom, like it felt like Niagara Falls, like because the wave was just pushing me into the reef, and I felt it like blow open, and I was just like, oh no, I'm gonna be a paraplegic. Like,
is that what you thought?
Yeah, I was just like, oh no, and then I wriggled my toes, and I was just like, this is all underwater. It was like a car crash, like everything was slow mo, and I was like, oh yes, I can. And then I was like, came up, and I was like just in so much agony, and then got another couple of waves on the head, but then the jet ski came and picked me up and took me straight to the beach, and then they had to get a pelvic tourniquet belt to. They diagnosed me so quick, luckily, because I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was just like, what? I was just screaming, but I could feel like I was so like hot and warm, but because of the internal bleeding in your pelvis, like if you have an open book fracture, it like bleeds out, like 2.5 liters it can bleed out and die. So they did it, got the tourniquet, did it up, and I was just like felt it close almost, and then had to lay on the beach. But like there was like 4 doctors because it's a heavy water event. So with trauma specialists and orthopedic surgeons and stuff were there, so they diagnosed it straight away. But no pain relief, which was the worst. And an ambulance had to come from Honolulu to get there, and the traffic's so bad because the contest's on.
Right.
So then like 40 minutes later, but I had to wait, and then finally got on the drip with pain relief, and then into surgery straight away that day, and then a couple of weeks in that hospital, and then had to get flown back and then get a private plane up from Sydney, and then another couple of weeks here, and then transform the house and live downstairs. It was heavy. Didn't walk for 4 months. So
wow.
In a wheelchair. So that was a massive experience for me. But that, in short, that's what led me to coaching, because I couldn't surf that year, and John Florence reached out and asked me to coach him because he knew I wasn't going to be able to surf, and I was like, oh, this is a weird opportunity, but why not? Like, I'll give it a go, and then worked with John, and then.
Did you enjoy the experience?
Oh,
like, as
loved
coaching with
it.
John?
Yeah, and then he ended up winning the world title, his first world title.
Hey, good coaching. Hey, it's a good start to the resume. Man. Yeah.
So it was like, but he was really particular in what he wanted, because I was competing against him the year before, and he knew that I was like really good at strategy and tactics in heats, and didn't so much have the talent as like what he had, but I actually beat him on tour that year. But then he was obviously going to win a world title at some stage, but he just tapped into, like, he wanted to really tap into that mindset and just learning how to play the game of surfing, because it's such a chess match when you're out there. So, and then he just loved learning. Like, he's such a learner. He's such a smart guy. Like, he's into his sailing, and he's into all his. He's very unique, the way he thinks about stuff. So it was really cool working with him. And then that led to, me working with Surfing Australia and going to the Olympics and whatnot, because I got back on tour for 1 year. But I knew it was the back end of my career, and I was like, I've got to do something after surfing. So I went down that track.
Were you nervous coming out? Like, you went back on tour, like, because like all the crew that I talked to, they were in it. There's this kind of like underlying theme of like, well, what am I going to do after professional sport? Like, some guys are so good, they might do things like while they're in it, and then some guys might leave it a little bit later because they just don't know what to do. Yeah. Were you ever were you nervous about transitioning out?
Well, that's where I was kind of felt lucky, because I was doing it started coaching while I was on tour, so I was already familiar with it and kind of knew what I was in for. But I guess the worst part was I went to work for Surfing Australia, which is nothing against AIS, but working for like an institution, so to speak, and it was basically 9 to 5, and that really sort of spanner in the works for me.
It's not island time, man.
Like, exactly, I was like wanting to go surfing when the surf was pumping. I had to go in and work, like say in the office, because there was so much admin. Because when I was doing the coaching before, there's no admin, so to speak, and then so much admin in this, and I was just like straight in the deep end. I was like, definitely had some down days, and I was just like, wanted to quit so bad, but then I just like, I don't quit, like I can't quit, like I have to see this through, it's going to get easier. So I was just went back to just like one day at a time. Well, let's just even do half day at a time, because I just wanted to leave. Like it was really tough for me to just go from never having those constraints and that conforming, so to speak, to I have to sit here, like I don't have to sit here, but I'm supposed to in this role and like do all this admin, which I'm terrible at. So, but then I just had to talk about it, and just started talking about it to other people, and asking how they went with it, other surfers that were older than me that I looked up to, and just started being more open about it, which like made it feel more normal, because I was just like, what's wrong with me? Like, is this like, should I feel so like I hate this so much? Is this normal? Like it's just it took a while for me to adjust, a good 6 months, but I was really struggling at the start. Like I was in the deep end for sure.
What was some advice, or what was some things that like the older crew told you when you were in the thick of it?
Just to like, be okay with it, and it'll probably get easier, but also make sure you keep up your own routines. Like routines was a big one that a lot of people said, is like, make sure you keep surfing yourself. Like make sure you fill up your cup a little bit, and not just give it to like all the athletes, or just all in there. Because I don't know, I can tend to do that a bit. Like if I get focused on something, like I'll just be all in and just want to do such a good job in that, like I'll forget about other stuff.
Gotcha.
And that can be myself as well. But so just finding that balance of like filling up my cup enough so that I'm not thinking about, I don't know, my own, or letting myself go and my own passions, and just putting it all into someone else, or other areas. And so just filling up all the different domains, so to speak.
What do you think the other crews struggle with coming out? Like, what do you think are the normal things that most people, yourself included, like would struggle with coming out of a professional environment to like the real world?
I know, and it sounds weird, and I have mates that's like, get over it. You're serious? You're just starting work now. I've been working for 20 years, and you're like, but that probably makes it worse.
It does.
Yeah, and you're like, well, you didn't live my life, and I didn't live yours, so can you just respect that, please? But anyway, they're just mates, so I just like piss off. Or whatever.
Man.
But definitely, I feel like, and talking to other surfers, and like, you know, in your line of work as well, everyone's a little bit different, but I feel still like, you know, you're investing your whole life, and all your dreams and your passions go into something, and it's like you're so in it. Then when you step out of it, it feels a bit empty, and sort of like, how do you top it up with other things? And you're kind of sort of finding your way. I found, like, and talking to other people, like, how do you still get that, like, those dopamine hits or whatever, because it's called high performance for a reason. Like it's very intense environments, very stressful, but very rewarding. So big highs and lows. And so it's like, how do you get those roller coaster moments still, but in more of a structured, like, I don't know, even flow world, because you're not going to get these huge highs and lows, and not like I don't know, even paydays, like, because the variances, like, there's so many wild things that are just not like in normal society, like compared to in high performing, like in high performance sport, like, because it's extremes.
Did you how did you find your highs now, or like how did you find your highs coming out of it?
Definitely, I struggle with it. Definitely, definitely dabbled in like partying, stuff like that, because it's like it's fun. It's like erratic. But then also like in surfing, like I'd still do it with surfing, but then now, like we're talking off camera as well, like with spearfishing, like I find like I love that, but it's so healthy and it's so like calming and mindful. So yeah, it's sort of like I love that, the rush of that, but it's like pushing myself, but in a really healthy way. And I think routines, like getting up early and training, like fitness stuff, like you can push yourself to the absolute brink of like disaster.
Well, mate, you still look fit, brother. You're still looking good, hey?
So training and I think like, and you know, like you push yourself like to extremes with training and then, but also like I have a family as well. And just like pushing myself in different domains, like more like challenging myself with family stuff, like kid stuff and like stuff I don't like. Not kid stuff, but like more I don't know, like study stuff or like learning new stuff, which I do not like at all. But I found that rewarding if I can get through tasks like where I absolutely hate, that just feels so boring and mundane. But then I can get like almost a high out of like I achieved something I never would have focused on.
Yeah, I love that.
Just challenge myself, and then obviously journaling I feel is like so good. Yeah, like that's been a big shift, just to reflect on like what things I don't like and what I do, instead of just like going off like ad hoc in my mind of what I like. And
will you do it? How will you do it? You do it at the end of the day, start of the day?
More so just when I have spare time, and then like, but I like more do stuff in the morning, like just have a few minutes on my own and go through like a routine with some foundation training and DNS and breathing stuff, like just to set the intentions for the day.
Mate, the more conversations I have on this is like the more journaling pops up. It's so wild. Like people will put down like their goals and their dreams, and they'll talk about it like as it's actually going to happen. But the intention thing is like starting the day with like what you want to get out of the day. I found has been like super refreshing. I've started doing that actually this year, and then even like a nightly like review almost is like looking back through the day. It takes like 2 minutes. So what worked through the day, what didn't work. Was there something in the day that I didn't like the way I reacted to something, or if I didn't like the way I was, it's like, well, and that circles back to what your values are and all the things. I love that you do that. It's so sick.
I find it's just a good way to just keep in check like where you're at and be aware of things, so to speak, and like it just, I find like just keeps on track for like progression instead of just winging it, so to speak. And I like it too, just if I'm pissed off or like or if I'm feeling anxious about something, just to write. Like if I find like it I don't know, just like it's almost a release of like, or if I'm I don't know, or good things and bad things, just write it out, and it's just like an outlet.
A little emotional dump.
Definitely if I'm really frustrated or feel anxious about something, I find it helps a lot for me anyway, in my mind.
You mentioned training before, and I know that you train with the great man Johnny Gannon and a few of those boys. Mate, it's funny. Usually I like getting like questions, like voice memo questions from like mates and stuff like that. And Johnny sent one. I got one from Johnny, and I was like, usually these questions are like around like mental health or like their perception on certain things. But I'm interested to get your thoughts on Johnny's question.
Hey, Bede, it's JG. Mate, what's your infatuation with chopping down trees when you go camping? Answer that one for us, bruv.
I was like to Johnny, I was like, Mark, I'm so intrigued to see where we go with this.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to, that's just a full dopamine hit, really, that for sure. Like, I don't know, yeah, you would have chopped lots of wood, and something about an axe and a tree, and if you can chop it down and throw it on the fire, like, fuck, it's such a good feeling. I find
it's the little things, man. It's the little things,
and you drag it, and throw it on the fire, and you're like, fuck yeah. And one of the trips, me and Johnny climbed up this hill, and all the boys were down at the fire, and I was like, let's go up the top and chop this tree down, Johnny. It was like, fuck yeah. And then, anyone that knows Johnny, he's so physically built, he looks like Adonis, he's just ripped. And I'm found a half dead one, obviously not going to chop a green tree down, and I'm like, yeah, this is the one that was pretty bloody tall. And he's just into it. I'm like, get into it, Johnny. And then he'd get fatigued, and into it. And we're doing it barefoot, just and
just full primal.
And then it just falls down, nearly took out one of the boys, then drag it on the fire, and it's it's just such a good feeling. And anyone that knows me, always just where's the axe, man?
The axe man. The axe man.
But it's been pretty dangerous. Another mate, when I was supposed to go to the trip, but I didn't make it, camping at Moreton, and he chopped his foot, Ant Macca, and he had a huge slash, and he had to leave the camping trip at Moreton in the middle of the night. It's hectic. So it's I don't know, it's sort of I feel a lot of athletes love teetering on the edge of a bit dangerous stuff, just because it's that's how you become an athlete sometimes as well.
But even the spearfishing, the camping, full driving, so sick. Yeah. I feel as not even just for athletes, but just for any guys or family.
Anyone,
that's the spot. That for me, that's where I want to sit. You know?
Yeah, no, it's so fun, and it's going with my kids and whatnot. It's just so fun as well, and love doing family trips. I don't know, we just went in the snow the other week, and it's just so fun, everyone bombing down the mountains, because you can go as fast as you want, but you could get hurt, and it's just, I don't know, it's just outdoors stuff. It just, love it.
I love that you get your kids into that stuff as well.
Yeah.
Do you find you lose, or you've not even lost, but I know guys, naturally when you get over 30, there's a testosterone drop, naturally, and that cutting edge, surfing big waves, probably flirting with a bit on the other side of the line, naturally drops. Do you find you've not lost that, because that's not what I'm getting at all, but that wanting of adrenaline or something like that?
A little bit. I don't know, even just surfing the other day, it was I was just so into it and hit of adrenaline, but then I got injured. So it's sort of I guess your body sort of slows down, but I don't know, my mind doesn't.
Just keep going. I remember when I was playing, when I first started, I was 20, and you're just full testosterone. I remember I was riding motorbikes. I got my skydiving license when I was playing footy.
Wow, that's nuts.
Sorry for another time. Remember the chair of the Titans was the fuck are you doing, man? It was, anyway, road time.
Shit,
but even
nuts.
but even now, I'm I don't want to do that. I don't have that in me anymore. 28, I'm I don't know. I kind of want my body to be sweet growing up or getting older.
I think it's just that fine line of what fills your cup up, and but it's sort of, I don't know, if you're used to something, I feel the worst, could be the worst.
Yeah.
Is just going cold turkey on your passions and just go, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
I don't do that. But you're probably just telling yourself a bit of a lie.
Yeah.
You got to, I don't know, transition out of that. I find and just seeing other people that have had lifestyle like that, and then they're just not. You're like, I think you're kind of being a bit hard on yourself, or like telling you something potentially that you don't do that anymore, but you can see that twinkle in their eye.
Will you still do though? Because like I probably shouldn't say a lot of that, because skydiving is probably different.
Yeah.
Running into like a brick wall in footy, I definitely don't miss.
Yeah.
But like, but even like surfing like bigger waves. Like we're talking about Matty Formston before. Even like running bigger distances. Like that stuff's like still really interesting to me. You know, I was telling you, I caught up with a guy called James Fletcher, who's a breath coach here on the Goldie, and I was like, after the last cyclone, I was like, man, I'd love to get into like surfing bigger waves. Like, and I was just like, kind of like, do I need a ski? Like, or just bomb? Like, I don't know. Like, it's, you still got that little like that little dog there.
Yeah, you can just get bigger boards, or it's just like that challenge of like, I'm just gonna try and get out and go. And I reckon it's and like the ocean like is dangerous, but it compared to other things like skydiving, it's probably a lot safer. So I don't know, next cyclone swell, like we should go do some step offs.
Get on a ski. Us and the other 40 people.
Oh, I know. Or just paddle out like on a big board at Crumman or something. That'd be sick.
Yeah, let's do that. That'd be so epic, mate. Yesterday we had a really cool conversation on the phone, and we discussed a few things that you probably haven't really spoken about, which I'm keen to talk about. I want to be like, I guess not gentle, but a bit like cautious of how it's kind of started for you, and what that whole place looked like, and kind of where the story kind of started with, you know, you talk about the ADHD and ADD and what that even kind of looked like for you. Like, where did the story kind of start? Yeah,
it's been a bit of a crazy journey, I guess. Like going from just life and fast life and work, surfing, all that bolter, and then slowing down and just kind of, I guess, getting to know myself, and my wife and I, Taz, went through like a transition, like of really finding ourselves and whatnot. And mine was learning that I had ADD, and going down that whole track and getting no diagnosis. And
what is ADD for those who don't know?
It's attention deficit disorder. But then if you have ADHD, it's attention hyperactive attention deficit, hyperactive disorder. So, but it's neurodiverse, neurotypical, which is absolutely massive in so many different worlds, and there's so many different aspects, and everyone has different parts of it. But I have ADD, which is the attention deficit part.
So what does that mean? What does that mean?
So that was really interesting for me to learn, because I can be really quiet and probably that lazy side, which I thought was lazy, but it's more I just switch off and zone out. And if I'm not like kind of into something, I'll just be really quiet and just kind of stop listening, which is not helpful and not great. But it's something I've got to learn and be educated in now, and have tools and to navigate and be medicated now. And I've never gone spoken about this publicly, really. Like, all my friends and family and stuff know, but I'm open about it, but I'm still learning a lot about it. So I don't want to elaborate too much on it, but for me, it's been so life-changing in a good way, like just to know that about myself now. And a lot of and even the urges of the other side, when I'm into something, I can get really hyper-focused. And like I was talking about earlier, I can kind of not see things that are happening because I'm so entrenched in like a task or a passion. I'm just like there could be something going on here, but I'm like, don't even know. Like, someone's asking me a question, but I'm just like so hyper-focused, which can be a really bad thing, which I've learned. To have this education and hold, like, when I can feel now when I'm in that, and like step back from it almost, like just from the time of learning and know myself that much better, instead of just like, oh, that's just what I do. Like, because I always say, well, that's what I do, but now it's like, I don't have to do it. I can almost step out of it.
I was going to say, is it the awareness and education piece that you found out like later in life where you're like, oh, this is actually like a pretty not normal, like it's a normal thing, and so many other people have gone through it, where you can catch yourself almost?
Yeah, exactly. Like I can, feel like, oh, I'm getting gravitating towards something, like, and I'll catch myself and go, oh, do I really want to do that, or should I do something else, like in a more healthy way, or I'm going to really try and listen and put all my attention into that, instead of just like zone out and not pay attention.
Yeah.
And it's been, such a journey, and like, understanding of that, and like that's where the journaling helps a lot with that as well, and talking to other people that have it and have been diagnosed, and a few other friends have gone through it now, and like just from talking to them about it, and their understanding of like, shit, I definitely have that as well. So it's like, just, I don't know, it's been so fulfilling to just learn more about myself, and like, and especially with my kids and stuff, and how I show up in relationships and stuff like that. So it's been so much better, to be honest. What
was the hesitation with not talking about it at the start?
Definitely had hesitation, just the stigma of it, and it's like, fuck, what's wrong with me? Everyone might go judge me, or like, it's so weird, even like just being older and thinking that, but it's, I don't know, like just, it's human nature, I guess, to think, oh fuck, like, how's everyone going to perceive me now? Like, I've already done so much of my life without anyone saying anything, but then I've learned about it, the more comfortable and the more I can talk about it as well. Like, instead of like just talk about it, but I didn't have any education or tools with it, or understanding of myself with how I interacted with it.
Why are you comfortable talking about it now? Why talk about it now?
Yeah, it's a good point, and I'm comfortable, but I'm definitely not like an advocate to go out and talk really broadly about it. But I wanted to subtly just start opening up the question, and and also just showing people another side of me as well, that it is okay, and it's like, and it's like a lot of people out there have it, and maybe people that might be scared to talk about it might talk about it. So, and just, I guess, opening up that those doors to like, maybe go get diagnosed. But it's a really hard process to go through. It's actually really hard to even go and get diagnosed.
What's the process?
Well, there's only a couple of people that diagnosed on the Gold Coast, and like, it's a big wait list, and then you got to see a psychologist that specialises in ADHD and diagnosis of it, and then if you get that, and then you want to go down the track of getting medicated or seeing a psychiatrist, and that's another massive wait. And you would know with mental health stuff, like just getting through those doors in any of those areas, it's so hard. So, but it is, I don't know, I would say it's worth the wait list.
Yeah.
If it's something you really want to explore and understand, and if you have kids or whatever and whatnot, like, it's just like gives you another skill set and just a better understanding of yourself if you have it. But it's like, but some people are okay with just like, I've done life this way, and I'm happy with that. So I don't know, it's each their own, but for me, it's been really fulfilling and just been good to learn, and it's also helping guide me in better decisions in life now too.
Well, to be honest, mate, I love that you're open to talking about it, man. I think it's really cool, not just for us to have the conversation, but for also everyone else who could be potentially listening, who can potentially be like, oh, well, fuck, I switch off as well, or like really struggle with staying focused on certain tasks that I'm not interested in. Like, to be honest, man, it's the whole point of the podcast. Is to give people the tools and strategies of like certain things that they might be struggling with. Like that's the whole goal. Like the best clips and the best episodes, best conversations that we put out is someone who has gone through a hard thing, which you've talked about, but then also have found the tools and tips and strategies that have helped them get out of that. Do you think what was
Oh, cheers, man.
No, so like huge.
And it's
huge
so good that you open like these conversations up and give a safe place to let people talk about that, because I wouldn't just go around. I'd do it on like tell everyone, you know. So thanks for the safe place.
But of course, of course, when you were in it, like, was there a certain moment or a certain time or an event or situation where you're like, nah, something seems a little bit off here, or like I actually want to go have a conversation with a psychologist or something about that? Like, was there a moment in time where you thought, I actually want to make a change?
Before diagnosed?
Before diagnosed,
not a pivotal moment, but I always did think, like, especially at school and stuff, like I loved math and I just hated English. But because I was competitive, like, I didn't want to fail, like I'd do it, but I'm just like, fuck, it's just hard for everyone else. And also getting really tired, that was a big thing. Like, I'd always be tired at like 2 o'clock in the arvo. Because
you had to put so much effort into concentrating.
And like even like later in life after school and stuff, I'd always get really tired in the afternoons, like, and I just thought it was normal. But more I'd learn about it is I just have no dopamine left, because that's what it is like you run out of dopamine, so you get deficient in like that, so you start creating your own dopamine. That's like you'll chase things, or you'll just stop doing something boring, so I'll just go surfing, like, so I'll get dopamine. Or like drink twice as much coffee, or can lead to drinking like alcohol or excessive training, or like you'll chase stuff. And like there was just, now I wasn't aware of it, but now looking back, I was just like especially if I have my medication in the morning, it would just be like an even amount of energy all day. Even if I train, surf, it's sort of just even. But even before, like, it would just be always at like in around that 1 to 4 mark. I get so tired, like so tired, but I'd just push through. I'm like, don't be fucking tired. Don't be weak. But then I'd just be like, just doing stuff so half-heartedly. But like that was a big thing that I noticed, but I never said anything to anyone, or just kept that to myself. But that, and just a lot of things throughout life that I just kind of just thought, oh, that's weird. I'm like that. I know everyone else, it's neurotypical people aren't feeling as tired as me now, and they've done the exact same thing. And it's just a couple of things that I've picked up on, but there was not so much pivotal things. I guess more so like in people's interactions, people were like, what, are you zoned out there, or are you listening? Like, people like that kind of help lead to it as well.
Do you find, having gone through like all the education, talking to the psychs and psychiatrists, do you find that education has helped with like friendships and relationships now? Oh, massively,
definitely, just like talking to people about like that I have it, or like how I interact, but then also how now I'm like, a lot of people say, oh, you're such a good listener.
Interesting that
I
one.
didn't get that as much as before, so I'm like, unless it was something I was really into, like people would be, I would listen a lot, because I'm like, I love this conversation or this subject. Where people like more mundane stuff, they're like, far out, you're a good listener, and you like were in touch with everything I was saying and you're asking questions, where I definitely didn't have that as much.
Yeah.
Where I'd almost now can go, I'm not so much into that environment, say, and what I walk into, like a meeting or whatever, where I'll be really attentive, where before I'd just be like, fuck, what I have to do that.
Yeah.
Like I'd fall asleep almost
Really?
in like seminars and shit. I'd just be like, please stay awake, please stay awake. It was so bad.
Wow.
It was so bad.
Wow.
Like
that's such a huge, that's a life changer, man.
Oh, massive.
Because my limited knowledge of like ADD and ADHD is like a lot of people get diagnosed at a younger age.
Yeah.
But now you're like 40, right?
Yeah,
Diagnosed
42,
at 40.
yeah.
Well, diagnosed at 40,
yeah,
right?
we're diagnosed at 40.
And
yeah.
so you start thinking like, that's I wonder how like it could have shifted a few things like
Totally.
earlier if you got on top of it. But then obviously like everything happens for a reason,
no.
and you wouldn't be where you are today without that. So it's interesting, man.
It's definitely interesting, and that's what I find as well. Like for sport, like it's definitely a lot of people have it, and whether they're diagnosed or not, but just working in sport, like I can see people that just get hyper fixated but that hyperfixation leads to crazy amounts of training, crazy amounts of dedication, sacrifice to that area. So that's why they can achieve great things. And oh man, it's such a like what's right and what's wrong. So I don't know. It's just like what a big can of worms.
Yeah,
so
I know.
I just feel like obviously it comes back to mental health and what's not causing mental illness and what's creating health. I don't know, just that balance. And like that's what I work with, like with our sports psychologist in surfing, Jason, like just that balance of like having that passion, that drive and that focus, but then also not avoiding all the other stuff in life. So it's like it's going to be a never-ending journey for anyone, really. And then everyone's personalities are so different.
I love what you said around that, but you can also, like having the tools and strategies and not getting away from everything in life, but you can also use it as like almost like a superpower in a sense where if you're on something, you can do incredible things with it. So it's not, people can see it as like, oh, it's unhelpful. It's like, no, it can actually be really helpful if you do it properly.
Exactly right. And it's like, just knowing when to turn it off, I think is when it's not helpful. But like if you're at training or like you're in some area where you've got this time and you're not like disrupting anyone else, fucking go for it.
Yeah.
Because you could achieve like a week's work in maybe one day.
Man.
Because you're just going to be relentless to it, like potentially. So it's just, I guess, just finding that bandwidth with it, and not like destroying other people along the way, like that are in your life or whatever. So it's like, it's a tricky one.
Yeah. Bro, I love this. Mate, I've loved this conversation. I am conscious of time. Mate, before we wrap things up, obviously, like you've done incredible things in surfing. I love what you're doing. I love how you've transitioned out, and I love that you're in the coaching space now, because it seems like you're thriving, man. It seems like you're in a really good spot at the moment. Looking back over the last like 20, 30 years, how do you think you would define your success now versus defining it back when you were first getting into surfing? Like, what does success look like for you now?
Yeah, that's a fucking good question. Success now, I feel, it's like, because, like a resume is a resume and it's like, does define success, but I feel success is the way you have a resume, but it's like, how do you like transition out of those domains, those areas with the people that were in them, like talk about you. I guess it's almost like you're at your own funeral, I guess. So it's like, I feel like, what is like, how do you feel you're going to like if it all ended right now, like what are you leaving behind? Like I feel
what will
like
you be
that's
remembered as?
yeah, like that's what I feel success is like. Is obviously showing up, doing the right things, but obviously you're gonna have confrontation. You're gonna have hurt people's feelings, but is it for the right reason? I feel success is that like doing good things for the greater good and like leaving it in a better place.
Yeah. Well, you can see with all the coaching and like the amount of investment that you're putting into like the next gen coming through.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. Bro, thanks so much for today, man.
No,
I love
you.
it. I think this has been sick.
No, I've had a ball too, Keegan, so thanks so much.
And mate, next 12, we're on.
Yeah, we're on charging.
Yeah,
no
dog.
broken ribs.
Thanks, bro.